Hi, I'm Adrian. I'm the CEO of imageHOLDERS, and we design and manufacture tablet kiosks and tablet and touchscreen-based solutions. So I'm just going to talk for a few minutes about rollout that is ongoing throughout predominantly the betting industry and betting shops. I thought I'd just give a bit of context what it is, tell you a little bit about imageHOLDERS. So for 18 years I had a different business which was based in the exhibition industry, and we were constantly frustrated by clients and retailers coming and asking to roll out kiosks or kiosk solutions. Inevitably, they always failed because of the expense and complexity of rolling those solutions out. And we toyed with making some sort of what we call DIY kiosks at the time, which was probably the worst marketing term we ever came up with. And then what we back what's now 17, 18 years ago, unbelievably, when we had the old HP tablets. I don't know if anyone remembers them. They were about 10 years before the iPad. So we're actually using them at work to do sketches on, and you could sketch something on that and email that to a client or a supplier very quickly. And we thought that was completely revolutionary at the time and really fantastic, and got really excited and bought lots of these HP tablets, but they kept breaking. And then HP pulled them, and it wasn't for another 7 or 8 years until the iPad came out that we now have tablet technology as a kind of consumer product. So basically what happened is, actually, that's fallen off. Can everyone hear me okay? Because you can't now? Yeah. Is that okay? That's really loud now. All right, so basically, when the iPad came out, we suddenly went, well, here's a product that we can house, that we can, bring down the cost, basically resolve all of these problems that we've been saying for years and years. So we basically, it was kind of divine innovation. We happened to be selling the other company and started imageHOLDERS 3.5 years ago. Started with tablet enclosures, 10-inch tablets, because that was all that existed, and we've grown that and now support tablets and touchscreen devices from 8 inches up to 40 inches. But really focus on trying to give the sort of maximum value to the client, and it's all about kind of listening to the client. So I wanted to just kind of give that insight, because things have changed massively in the last few years, and even after the iPad came out, it really took, in sort of industry terms as opposed to consumer terms, several years for it to really be implemented. It's now moved beyond that, and it's moved into device integration and complete solutions, which I can illustrate. To move on, do I just use the side arrow? Is that? Oh yeah. Okay. So, sorry, this keeps moving around. So just didn't realise it had little hoops for your ears. That. Okay. So what we do is focus on solutions that are incredibly easy to install and ultimately easy to use for the client. So they're always looking at the user as opposed to our client, who generally isn't the user, first, and as a result, that keeps the client happy, because it's about the user experience, the consumer, who wants to engage with the kiosk or the enclosure. And I think that's something that often gets very forgotten about. So then you've got other criteria, like, it has to be incredibly simple to install, it's got to be very secure, and it's got to be easy to use or intuitive to use. So you want to, when we're speaking to clients, it's all about, well, you want your consumer to walk in and kind of get it and just walk up and know how to use that thing. So when you go to a car park, and I mean, even I, who was designing these things, goes to the car park and I'm like, where did I put my ticket? And you're looking around, and I mean, people seem to design in huge complexity to things that are actually quite simple, or should be. So I'm trying to remove that. So, we're really looking at quite disruptive solutions from, often things that really haven't been redesigned for, 30, 40 years in some instances. You're going from effectively things that have evolved from a one-arm bandit to a case which is still the same form factor, without the arm, and all you're doing is taking mechanical bits out of it and putting digital bits into it in terms of case. And then all of a sudden you can really sort of change the form factors and the sizes and how these things get used and how they get interacted with. You've still got various drawbacks, like you have to have power and data, got to be installed. These aren't, if you have a printer, clients come and go, oh, we've got this really neat little printer that we want to put in the airport, but then they forget that they have to put a roll of paper that is this big next to it, so they can't have this tiny little kiosk, for example. So you've got all these kind of criteria that come with it. So it's about how do these things get deployed? They can get deployed quickly and easily. You don't need two guys to go with a pallet truck to go and deliver it and do a day's installation. So we did a deployment for the Greek lottery earlier this year, and they were buying big cabinets, and they were also buying our compact kiosk for very small shops. And our training for that kiosk was 4 hours, and for the large cabinet it was 2 weeks. So there's a cost of, even the cost of training and maintenance drops out. So you've got all these sort of swathes of reduced cost of ownership within what we do. It's not just about the design or the size. So this is a kind of model of kind of betting shop of the future, if you like. I don't know if many of you have been in a William Hill or a Paddy Power lately. Grand National Day, maybe? No? Okay. So the shops are very, the operators say themselves, they've kind of developed over many years and got bits bolted in. There's not an overriding scheme to the shop. A cabinet costs several £1,000, and they can only go against the wall. So you tend to get, if it was in this room, you just have rows of betting terminals down the sides of the walls. You might have a couple of tables and chairs spaced around in the middle. So basically, any central space in any betting shop is completely wasted. They can't use it. They might be able to put a couple against a column or something, and they're all kind of maxed out. But there's still a lot of room and potential to get further clients. So we came up with this concept that could be mounted on the walls. You can actually get more against the walls, lighten up the space, redeploy. You've got standing rails, you've got sitting tables. You can mount them on a column, and it's all one solution, which is completely scalable. Using a 15.6-inch panel PC, cache nutmeg, a printer, and an NFC reader. So just taking those devices and just like re-molding them or purposing them into a new cabinet. And all the furniture. So we also designed and developed the furniture. So everything comes pre-housed. So if you purchase one of these tables, for example, can literally be lifted out of the van, taken, dropped into place, plugged in with power and data, which comes down the leg, and you switch them on. It's that simple. So you've actually got massively ease of installation, and the clients are there, ready, and as these things get on, they tend to have a queue of people going, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? And then they start betting. You've got the little intuitive things like the scanner pointing down from the terminal. The scanner points down onto the tabletop, so you've got the red flashing beam, which is completely intuitive. And so you're not looking around, you can see it in front of you. So all right, okay, scan there, boom. And there's no training needed, there's no everything. It's making everything incredibly intuitive, which is the real purpose, as opposed to just trying to kind of give the client something off the shelf, and it's about listening to them. And these designs are, they keep getting tweaked. So the tables are now were originally just short of 2 meters long, and they're now 1 meter long, slightly angled, so that we can get 2 on a pallet and get them delivered in and deploy them around. So if they're going out into the UK especially, it's much easier to deliver these things. We got that 3 terminal table. We've actually got one of these on our booth out in the hall. So you've got a table there which has got power and data in the leg. It can be lifted into place with 3 or 4 terminals on a 1 meter footprint. So you've got 4 terminals in a meter footprint, which is not been done before. And that gives huge cost effectiveness and also kind of opens up the shop. And actually those tables, they measure the amount of betting. And for when you've got the table there, it's they've got the highest betting yield from the terminals that are on the tables in the middle of the shop. And that's, I think, because the clients feel comfortable going up to them, but they don't, because they're all angled away from one another, they're immersed in that screen. They're not they're not in one another's way. So whereas when you've got the machines lined up down the wall, and then as the shop fills up, you tend to get everybody on every second machine until a kind of critical mass. And then eventually it starts to fill up, so the second machines start to get used on busy days. So there's several insights there about how these things can be deployed. Okay, so we've got security, ease of installation, low maintenance, very versatile. So the same unit being able to mount against the wall or go on a piece of furniture, or be deployed in many ways. The maintenance level, again, very important. So you just flip the front down. You can change, if the screen goes down, a member of staff can change that with no tools in like literally 2 minutes. And it's completely intuitive. You don't even have to give them training. There's a couple of locks. You open it up. The staff open the front. Have to change the printer rolls, take the cash out. So you've got something that's very secure, but very quick and easy to change the materials. And there's actually thumb screws. So if a printer, something like that, goes down, they don't need to do anything. All they can literally just take the thumb screws out, change the printer, put it back in, and it's all USB. So if you can change a device on your desk at home or in the office, you can change a device in one of these things. We actually do the same at McDonald's. So the enclosures in McDonald's, they often get tablets smashed, and the staff can literally just go in, unlock something, flip it out, put a new one in, and it takes, you can actually do it in 30 seconds if you really want to. So that's Corals. We weren't in control of the branding, but that's a machine they would deploy, like retrofitted onto existing shelves. That you can see the same machine just without different branding can have an incredibly different look. What we find is that just by changing the materials of the shelves or the branding, that you can really change the look and feel of the product. So you've got things in like high-end brands that might have a wooden shelf with some walnut veneer and then matte black branding, and then you've got something else which is still suitable. Has a kind of there's a certain brand look to the betting world. So what we've done there is, from the learnings of that rollout, redeployed and repurposed. And these are all current projects, so taking that into retail, into cinemas. We've got a slim version that we've developed. We've got different size screens depending on the client, from 10-inch to 22-inch on this version, or these versions, I should say. Some of them use a PC, tablet PC. Some of them use just a tablet. The Swissport one at the bottom has a kind of slim client type thing. That's for baggage handling. So if you've got missing baggage, just walk up to the terminal, scan your barcode off the, when they stick it on the back of your boarding pass. So you scan the barcode of that. It knows who you are. You type in. So if you've arrived in Malaga and you've not got your luggage, they'll say, right, your luggage is in Stuttgart, and we can have it delivered within 48 hours. And so, you don't need anybody there, and there's a little box of forms here that if you want to, you might need to go and fill a form in to go with it, and you just you fill it in and then post it back in the box. Retail, you've got self-service, so you've got various high street retailers who have a requirement to, if it's not in stock in the shop, you can go and check which store it's in, or you can order it there and then online. That's becoming a very popular use case. Cinema check-in, or self-service check-in and payment. It's integrated payment as well into there is a relatively simple task. So what we do is just listen to the client, learn about what the devices they are required, and then it's about housing those devices incredibly ergonomic, most ergonomic and practical way for the user. Okay, there's a few more integrated kiosks. That's again full kiosk. So that shipped to NASA, to Cape Canaveral, and that's a passport reader in the top. So you put your passport in, checks who you are. You have to, even to get in there now, you've got to put your passport, your ID. If you're a US citizen, you can use a driving license. And then it prints you out an ID tag that you stick on a lanyard, and then you're allowed in. So you've got kind of self-check-in there, through to this little integration kiosk here that we call the Integrated Pro. So that's a desktop unit, and that can be, so you've got a tiny little kiosk that has all the functionality of what would have been a massive unit a few years ago. So that's really useful for countertops. You can connect your pet to it. You can put scanners in there, passport readers, fingerprint readers, all kinds of stuff. I know it's got the 3mm thick steel bezel on the front, so it's pretty. It's a pretty tough bit of kit. And again, that can be branded. used with different tablets. So you might be, depending on the operating system, you might be working on iOS, Windows, Android. Doesn't really matter. We don't get involved with the software. We let the client, just push the software and tell us what they need. And then you've got the handheld or mini or micro kiosk. That's a fingerprint, a finger vein scanner in there. So that actually takes a 3D scan of the capillaries in your finger, which has a 1 in 3 billion chance. So there's about potentially 1.5 people on the planet who could have the same finger as you. So that's being now used for payment, and they just completed a trial of these at Brunel University for Freshers Week, and they had over 2,000 students sign up the first week. You might have seen that was on the news and national press last week on the rollout for Brunel. And there's a few of the units in McDonald's. When you actually go into McDonald's, children are normally swinging on them physically, like a little merry-go-round or something, but as opposed to actually using the tablet. But they've got to be very strong and secure. So hopefully, I don't want to kind of go on and on. So maybe there's a few questions that anybody has. Feel free. Somebody must have a question. Yeah? Okay, so I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.